The Beast and the Believer. The corridors of Station Helix 9 buzzed with tension as Dr. James Carter stood outside Cell 47, watching the creature inside through the reinforced observation window. She was magnificent and terrifying in equal measure. The alien woman, codenamed Vera by the military, stood nearly 8 feet tall, with iridescent skin that flickered between midnight blue and violent crimson. Her body was covered in bioluminescent markings that pulsed with her heartbeat, and her hair moved like living silver threads. Responding to every sound and movement, she's killed 3 guards. "Dr. Carter," Colonel Morrison said behind him, his voice heavy with warning. 2 more are in critical condition. Whatever you think you're going to accomplish in there, I hope it's worth your life. James didn't take his eyes off Vera. She was crouched in the corner, her long fingers tipped with retractable claws that had already proven lethal. But James saw something others missed. Her colors weren't random violence. They were communication. Patterns repeating, shifting, pleading. "She's not a killer," James said quietly. "She's defending herself." "Defending herself?" Morrison scoffed. "She attacked without provocation." "No, Colonel. Your men attacked first. They tried to chain her, sedate her, take samples of her tissue. To her, they were torturers." James turned to face the older man. "I've studied the Velkari for 2 years. Their entire civilization is built on color-based communication. Every shade, every pattern has meaning. She's been screaming for help, and we've been too deaf to hear." Morrison's jaw tightened. "You have 72 hours. If she harms you, the automated defenses will kill her instantly. No exceptions." James nodded and approached the cell door. His hands were steady despite his racing heart. He'd left his weapons outside, wore no protective gear. If Vera was going to trust him, he needed to be vulnerable. The door hissed open. James stepped inside, and it sealed behind him with a sound like a death sentence. Vera's head snapped toward him, her colors exploding into warning reds and blacks. She rose to her full height, towering over him, her claws extending with a metallic sound that echoed in the small space. James sat down cross-legged on the cold floor, 5 meters away from her. He placed his hands palm up on his knees and waited. Outside, he knew the observation team was holding their breath, betting on how long he'd survive. Hours passed. Vera didn't move. James didn't move. He studied her patterns, recording them mentally. Deep red with orange spirals meant fear aggression. Black with purple undertones was grief. When her colors shifted to dark blue with silver flecks, he recognized it from his research. Confusion. Slowly, carefully, James raised one hand and touched his chest. "James," he said softly. Then he pointed to her, his movement deliberate and gentle. "Vera," the alien's entire body shimmered. The aggressive colors faded, replaced by something softer, amber with traces of green. It pulsed like a question. James smiled and repeated the gesture. This time, Vera tilted her head, a movement so human it made his chest ache. Over the next 2 days, they built a language. James learned that Vera's ship had crashed on a mining colony. She was the sole survivor, traumatized and alone. The soldiers who captured her had treated her like an animal, strapping her down, shocking her when she resisted. Every attack had been self-defense. Every wound she'd inflicted a desperate attempt to survive. James showed her images of Earth, forests, oceans, mountains under starlight. Vera's colors softened to peaceful blues and greens. She began making sounds, melodic and haunting, that might have been words in her language. James recorded everything, his scientist's mind cataloging while his heart broke for her loneliness. On the 3rd morning, exhausted from days of careful communication, James fell asleep sitting against the wall. He didn't wake when Vera approached, her massive form moving with surprising silence. He didn't wake when she so carefully, lowered herself beside him. But the observation team watched in shock as the feral monster curled her body protectively around the sleeping human, her head coming to rest on his chest. Her colors settled into soft lavender and gold, pulsing in time with his heartbeat. When Colonel Morrison burst through the door at dawn with a full security team, weapons raised, James stirred. His arm instinctively tightened around Vera, who didn't wake, her breathing deep and peaceful. "Lower your weapons," James said, his voice carrying unexpected authority. Now, Morrison froze, staring at the impossible scene. The alien who'd killed 3 trained soldiers was sleeping like a child, her dangerous claws retracted. Her colors the softest anyone had ever seen. She's not feral, James continued, looking down at Vera with undisguised tenderness. She never was. She's scared, grieving, and impossibly far from home. She's a person, Colonel, and we've been treating her like a monster. Vera's eyes opened, reflecting the harsh lights. She looked at James, then at the armed humans. Her skin rippled with nervous yellow, but she didn't attack. Instead, she pressed closer to James, seeking comfort from the one human who'd seen her as more than a threat. "We're going to do this differently," James said firmly. "Full diplomatic protocols, proper communication facilities, someone from the Interspecies Council. Because this is first contact, Colonel, and humanity needs to do better." Morrison stared at them for a long moment, then slowly lowered his weapon. "Stand down," he ordered his team. "Dr. Carter, it seems we have a lot to learn." Vera's colors shifted to brilliant gold, and James knew that in this cold metal cell, 2 species had taken their first real step toward understanding. Sometimes the bravest thing a human could do was simply listen.